Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. As you guys can tell, we got a little bit of an upgraded setup here. We got some mics going on here. We got a new layout of the podcast. Rex is now to both of our rights. He's not in between us. He's to our right. And yeah, we're to your left, Rex. We're to your left.
Yeah.
And it's about to be a wild time. There you go. So
I just waved to you.
Some big time upgrades in the studio. And of course, Rex, Sam, how you guys doing today?
Josh, I am feeling amazing. Have you seen me in this side of the screen before? It's like a whole new... It's like I rearranged my room, and now I'm living in... It's hard to describe with words. It's really, I should paint you a picture.
Yeah, I bet.
We can see you too, so I mean that's like,
oh yeah, we can now see phenomenal. Rex. Before we couldn't see him. Rex can't
Boom,
see us.
The power of technology.
You love to see
it's amazing.
But basically, as you guys may know, there was a big tournament this weekend. Some big time surprises. FaZe came up a little bit short. Empire surprised the world, and the Rokkr made their way to the finals as well. So it was a pretty epic tournament. A lot to go through. We got news. We got so much more, and Sam's just cracking up looking at Rex on the screen.
I love it. Yeah, no, seriously.
And also, Rex, watch out for those breaths into the microphone. Last time, those laughs, they're killer. They're killer.
I love it.
Oh, the setup is so much better. This is so good. All right, so. I mean, before we get anything else, let's go through some of the news segments per usual. Yes. But before that, of course, you can follow us on Twitter at SalvationsElite, at @bash_bo3, and of course, Rex is at ShadyNero. And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And we'll be reading some reviews on Apple Podcasts if you guys drop those. So there were some good spicy ones last time.
There is some spicy ones on there.
And yeah, so with that said, let's hop right into the news and get into it. So there were some big time changes, and just different things that happened this week. Of course, the first thing was in game. Actually, this is a small note. If you guys haven't noticed already, the mini map, you can now change the mini map to a square.
Unexpected.
No circles anymore. I think it's like technically like 21% bigger.
Someone did on Reddit. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, some math. You know, that's how that goes. And
pretty cool though. I mean,
yeah.
Historically, we've always seen a square mini map, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that.
I mean,
there's something else.
If there wasn't, there was always an option to change it. Yeah. So it's good to see. I'm glad to see it back. And I mean, the mini map was so small in this game. Like, holy moly! Please give us something. So it's nice to see that it's a little bit bigger now. The next piece of news: the Paris Overwatch team canceled their homestand in April due to the old Corona.
COVID-19.
And oh no, we got one infected. Oh, you hate to see it. But now there's kind of worries that this could potentially affect COD in the next few months. I mean, Paris has their pro homestand in about a month and a half or so in May. So like, I don't know, there might be a world where it gets canceled. I mean, we got Seattle, we got Dallas, we got Chicago in the next month or so. So we'll see.
I hope they don't cancel it. I want to see what the Paris crowd's like. Same.
And it's even, I think we might see even more important now that we have subs for people getting sick.
Oh yeah, if anyone's getting that, I mean, yeah, the Corona could give us a chance to see those subs in action. That censors chance.
It censors chance.
Yo, that's what it is.
Coronavirus, COVID.
But yeah, so that's definitely an option. I mean, we'll see what happens with that. Just keep your eyes out on that, of course, everybody. And yeah, so the next thing, I tweeted about this. Simp.
Jesus. I love how this is news.
This is news. This is some big time news, guys. So Simp, was getting a little frustrated on Twitter with the meme making its way around. So if you guys didn't see, PewDiePie dropped a video about the meme, which is simps.
Yes.
Like the whole like e-girl, white knighting e-girl type thing going around. And and so basically Simp was shown in PewDiePie's video, and therefore ensued like a lot of Twitter shout outs to Simp about being a simp. Long story short, Simp probably won't change his name, but you never know.
The clip is actually great. It like wasn't it Puckett the one who was like
Yeah,
announced
it's Simp.
PewDiePie
And PewDiePie's
just dies.
What?
That's been a meme for like before the PewDiePie thing. It's been a meme for
I know.
at least since Black Ops 4 for sure.
Yeah, and
But it was never like attached to him. But now
Right.
PewDiePie is saying he's cursed now.
now it's picking up the steam. But I just wanted to mention that because it's just hilarious. But yeah, so I guess we can talk a little bit. I'll throw this in the news section. The open bracket, before we roll into our talk about CDL LA as a whole, the open bracket was pretty crazy in this event. I mean, Parasite with his new squad, and they had to come out of nowhere because Pharaoh was on Parasite's team before he got picked up by Florida.
Yes.
And so they really had to make some last second moves to make it happen. And his team, which was going under No Mercy Esports, which was Parasite, Paulex, Venom, Zaptius, and Glowfrosty, beat Singularity in the grand finals. And they actually beat them twice in the tournament because they eliminated them or knocked them out of winners earlier. So Singularity, though, has made now 4 straight grand finals in the open brackets, which
It's
is
a real deal.
just nuts. And I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on Parasite? I mean, he's kind of been getting a little bit of hype.
Dude,
Like,
I'm
on
so
Twitter,
happy
like,
to
yeah.
see it. Yeah, you heard that, right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see it. I want Parasite to start gaining steam because I think he does have the potential to be like a good player. He could be a pro. And now he's finally won after years of just grinding this. Now people are giving him attention. Like Censor shouts him out, Clayster shouts him out. Like people start shouting him out now, and I think it's really good for him. And I think Parasite deserves a comeback. And it'd be really, really cool to see him in the pro league.
I don't think he's helping himself with all these tweets, though.
Yeah. The one thing is I'm right there with you, Rex. He's been grinding forever, right? And he's a good player, undoubtedly. I know he had a past of being a toxic player, but he's shown signs of being a great teammate, and
he's changed.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
definitely changed.
absolutely. He definitely is tweeting out a lot. Hopefully that doesn't get people annoyed by him, but I just think honestly what it comes down to is he proved that he can win again. So I think he's just gonna he'll probably see success up from here. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he gets picked up on the sub spot or if he's just gonna continue to grind the challengers. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in the open, I was really hoping that Exotic and Spacely they were teaming.
Yeah.
It was Profizi, Spacely, Exotic, Prolute, and Apox.
Pretty good team.
And yeah, definitely a good team. But they came in third, actually. So, like,
So they suck.
they're just terrible.
Just the worst.
But yeah, they got eliminated by Singularity.
It is interesting that these players that are getting top 4-ish are like, because what Parasite, Spacely, Pharaoh were teaming at the beginning, right?
Yep.
So like you kind of wonder why Parasite doesn't stick with some of these guys. Like it
It may not be up to him.
Yeah. Again, there's things behind the scenes, but like it seems like besides Singularity and War, every team is changing every single week. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then War, that was something. War had to drop their team because of travel costs. So they weren't a European team for this tournament. They were an American team. So, but that same roster of the same core of War from before is still together. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
it kind of makes you wonder, like, does Parasite now try to get a consistent team, or does he just keep jumping around like he does?
I mean,
I think why would he not stay with the team he has now?
if they want to stay together, it only makes sense.
well,
but
I think he tweeted out though that they're all going, like, they were a team of people who kind of went away from their home
yeah, they came together for this tournament.
for the tournament, but then like now they're all going their separate ways again.
Yeah,
which is
it's
kinda
crazy
dumb.
that Glow Frosty jumped in like a few days before, and then they come out and they win the tournament. That definitely shows to, those guys' abilities to play, because that's impressive. Not easy to do. I mean,
Yeah, we'll
you
see.
gotta say Parasite's been climbing up the ranks.
Mhm.
It took him a second, but he finally gets that dub, and I actually think there's a chance he gets picked up. Like,
Yeah.
he had to win to get picked up, and now there's a chance. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. And also shout out to Singularity for making another final. It's like that's actually insanely impressive. So rooting for them to keep being successful. The other news that we had can basically be talked about in the first segment, which is of course CDL breakdown. And my goodness, there's a lot to go through. But first, I think we want to talk about our bracket results from last week. Of course, our predictions. This was a really, really, really tough tournament to predict. Looking back on it, I mean, of course, everybody thought FaZe was going to come out and make the plays and take it home. But the Rokkr is just straight up FaZe's kryptonite. Got our X.
Something about him, dude. him and the squad are 100% the hard counter for FaZe. Just a quick breakdown of our predictions. I mean, all of us, me and Sam had Rokkr and FaZe in the final. Rex had Empire and FaZe in the final. So Rex took home the prediction championship this time around. Most accurate by 1 point. By 1 point, I will say. Off the rip, guys, what was the biggest surprise, or what was the craziest thing in your opinion from the event? What's the biggest takeaway? Rex?
I think seeing OpTic do as well as they did, they look a lot better than how they've been playing.
The role change.
But granted, it was like home turf, and I almost feel like that Guerillas versus OpTic match was like whoever won is now going to be the home team for LA almost.
Yeah, there's
like
definitely
that's
a
who
lot
everyone's
going
to start cheering for. And so when OpTic won, I think they kind of got that momentum. So we'll see the next tournament how they do. They might have just been riding, they want to win over their home crowd, like motivation. So when that's gone, we'll see where they land. But they were surprising. I think they looked better than they ever have.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think the two biggest storylines here, I think everyone would say would be OpTic, and then also, of course, Rokkr beating FaZe. OpTic, I think, if they did not do, I think this was the minimum that they could have done without making a roster change. I think if they did any worse, I think they would have made a change.
Yeah. Right, because we were talking about that going into it, and like, what would it have taken for them to not make a roster change? And I mean, they made it out of their group.
They made it out of the group, which is surprising in and of itself.
I mean, beating Rokkr was the biggest thing. I mean, that was
3-0.
Shocking. Wow. Shocking.
They have to drop JKAP. If they replace JKAP with like anybody else who's like somewhat talented, they might have even gone farther.
I mean, Enable just looks like it makes more and more sense. I mean,
putting Enable there for JKAP?
Yeah.
But would Surge do that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if there's a world where Surge. I mean,
they could pick up a free agent.
Surge doesn't want
like
JKAP.
Parasite, or like maybe not Parasite per
not
se,
Parasite,
but he's too much like a true AR.
Yeah,
but like
one of the AMs.
Some AM, like some AM on Singularity, even just like pick up one of their subs and put them in for their flex. Like JKAP is doing so bad, and he is pulling that team back so bad, and I think they know it. You can see their faces when they play afterwards, and like he's the first one to get up, put his headset down. Everyone else is still sitting there with their headset. It's like they're waiting for him to leave. So once he leaves, they're all like JKAP. They all know it's him. So
the KDs at this tournament, a 1.3 for Slasher, a 1.11 for Dashy, 1.11 for Tej, which was by far his best performance of the year.
Tej improved.
Which, man. I mean, I think that has to do with him being more comfortable playing off Dashy. I think that makes a lot of sense. Kenny had a 1, and then JKAP had a 0.82. And he was a negative 40 plus minus, where, I mean, next worst was Kenny at a 1 plus minus, which is kills minus deaths. Man. So he was minus 40 on the tournament.
We've been saying since the beginning, JKAP has to get dropped. Like, anybody could go there. There's so many more people more deserving, more people that want it more than him that can take it. Yeah. And I don't think JKAP even wants to play anymore. I feel like he's super stressed about it.
Of their kills in hardpoint.
Yeah, there's just no like vibes on that team. Like when they win, they're not getting like hyped together. Like it's like they should have been going crazy after that Rokkr game, but it just seems like they're like, all right, this is just the way it is. But
I think they think they got lucky.
Yeah, and that might be it too. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there would be a big change if JKAP was changed out for someone else. But
what do you do with JKAP and Mud Dog are like best buds? And boys,
I don't know what to do.
Drop
with that.
him, man. Drop him.
But yeah, no, circling back to it, I think OpTic did do what they needed to do to stay together. At the very least, yeah, I think that was probably the biggest storyline from LA.
I mean, they have, what, a month now to think about this?
Figure it out.
If they're going to make a change, come on. It's going to be in the next few weeks. I wouldn't be shocked if JKAP is off the roster, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if they stay. So that's something I'm definitely keeping my eye on, because out of anything else, that's probably the thing I'm most excited about to see is what happens with OpTic. Because that role change truly made a difference. I mean, Dashy looked way more comfortable as a sub, and Slasher looked way more comfortable as a main AR. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is getting Slasher into a spot that he's the general of the map. He can make those calls. And then I think, again, Dashy and Tiege just have that chemistry that they just play better off each other than Slasher and Tiege ever did. So
I just don't know why they did that in the first place.
I know. I mean, legitimately,
it
was a Dashy problem. I think Dashy just thought he is an AR, which is just so weird, because it's he wasn't running an ICR last year. He was running a Maddox, which is basically a submachine gun compared to this COD. So I don't know. It's at this point, you'd only expect they stay in those roles and see what happens. So I'm very interested in that. So aside from OpTic, I mean, do you want to talk about Empire right now, or you want to wait? I mean, my goodness, Empire surprised the world a little bit with the win. I mean, none of them really flashed. They all had their moments, but statistically, none of them were incredible.
Went crazy.
Yeah,
but they looked like a real team.
They looked like a real team, and Shotzzy looked like what we thought Shotzzy could be, which is really exciting.
I still think he can be better.
I mean, that's not. You're not. I don't think you're wrong. I definitely think there's a world where Shotzzy could be even more dominant. And
absolutely.
So, what are your thoughts on Empire long term? I mean, they proved that they are the third best team in the league. I mean,
we can finally say that. Honest.
They still haven't beat FaZe or Huntsman. I mean, they got 3-0'd by FaZe. I mean, where are you guys at with Empire? Is there a world where they can compete with FaZe and or the Huntsman moving forward, or what are your guys' thoughts, Rex?
Yes, I think they can. I mean, they're growing, and I think they've grown a lot from the first event now, and I still think they can go up. Even Clay says they're growing, and I believe him. I think they can keep going. I think they all can improve. Especially ILLeY and Shotzzy have potential to improve so much more than where they're at now. And as long as they keep getting better, their team is just going to start soaring, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think really we are seeing that it is ILLeY and Shotzzy that are really, the ones that are going to turn this team from, great to great. Yeah, good to great, great to phenomenal, being able to beat FaZe. What is interesting though is if it was FaZe versus Empire in that grand final, I think
we all know what would happen.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's just weird how that works. How Rokkr can beat FaZe, or seems to be the only team that can beat FaZe, but then Rokkr is a beatable team by every other team. Where OpTic can beat them, Empire beats them. It's weird.
Yep.
Which is kind of a different topic.
I mean, to that point, I talked about this in my video, but it was literally like a dog eat dog event. FaZe beat Empire 3-0. Empire beat OpTic 3-1. OpTic 3-0'd Rokkr. Rokkr 3-2'd FaZe. Empire 3-2'd Rokkr, who had just lost to FaZe 3-0. So, and then OpTic had to reverse sweep LAG, but then LAG got mopped by Seattle. Then Seattle got mopped by Dallas.
It's just such a weird. Yeah,
it's like a clash of play styles, just the way they play.
Yeah,
it's like rock paper scissors.
It shows almost the parity of the COD League, though. Teams, it comes down to maps. It comes down to matchups. When it comes AR versus certain play styles and how ARs match up against each other with the one AR meta right now on some of these maps, and the vetoes are really, really interesting. I'm going to probably do a lot more research in how these vetoes are working and like what teams are playing and map size, because like at this point, like there's some maps where I'm like, why are you playing teams on these maps? So we'll see what happens with the vetoes. I think there's a world where like teams get a lot better at the vetoes and start learning each other's strengths and feel more comfortable on other maps. And so I'm really interested to see how that transitions. And that's a meta thing that I think will be a lot different moving forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I definitely think there's upside to be had with them still moving forward. So there's a world where they can start competing with FaZe and Huntsman, but I mean, they still got a ways to go. They're 0-6 map count versus FaZe. They're 2-9 map count versus Huntsman. But it felt like we saw a new Empire in those last, 2 matches. So
Definitely.
They're learning every series. They're learning. They're getting better every single time.
Clay talked about that in his interview as well, how he thinks Shotzzy and ILLeY have like multiplied in skill the past like 2 tournaments. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think in a month they could be even better and like a lot better, and they have a lot more upside than some teams for sure. So with the talent that they have, so I 100% agree. So Rokkr and FaZe, where are you guys at with them right now? I mean, the power rankings seemingly kind of reflect the standings currently with like a FaZe, Huntsman, Dallas, Rokkr, and then like a tier of teams there. Where are you guys at with FaZe? How do you feel about them now? Does your opinion change on them at all? Or is it just the Rokkr is their kryptonite? Or where are you at with that?
Well, I mean, I feel like FaZe just seem like they become more and more human every event that they play in. And so in this one, kind of proves like they can be beat. And I think a big part of FaZe is like pizzazz too at the beginning was just like everyone was almost like scared of them. Even like they said they weren't, you go in, you're like, we're playing FaZe, and like you already know you have the underhand here. Whereas Rokkr have finally done it and beat FaZe. The other teams are like, we can play Rokkr. And like they're gonna watch that map, see how Rokkr played against FaZe, and I think people are gonna be a lot less scared of FaZe now. FaZe is still gonna be really good, but they're gonna start losing more, I think.
Interesting.
They're gonna seem beatable. The game's gonna be a lot closer.
In your
it's
opinion,
not
are
gonna
they
be like
still in
such
their
a
own tier?
FaZe easy win.
Like, I mean, do you think they're in their own tier still, or have they been brought back down to earth where it's like a tier of 3 or 4 teams?
I feel like it's heading in the direction of a tier of 3 or 4 teams. I still think they're probably that number 1 spot, but I don't think they're so far ahead of other people.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, are you in the same spot?
Yeah, it's so hard to like look at like what's happening, because again, like we've only seen one team be able to somehow beat FaZe, but that one team
God RX, man,
isn't like consistently amazing. I to the point, I definitely think that tier 1 is becoming more of Huntsman, Dallas, FaZe. Maybe, I mean, do you throw Rokkr in there? I don't know. But and it might just be too like a mental thing, like maybe FaZe is just now every time they see Rokkr, it's gonna be like a mental block that they're gonna be like they might be scared. I don't know. But yeah, for whatever it is, Rokkr has figured FaZe out, not figured him out, but at least been able to compete.
They have a game plan. Yeah,
and then all the other teams, I'm sure, gonna be watching their VODs like crazy.
Yeah,
breaking it down. What are they doing? So yeah, we might be seeing more of competition with FaZe now.
Just like any other sport, it's really, really hard to go back to back. There's just a mentality. It's like any Super Bowl team, any NBA team, any MLB team. It's so hard to go back to back. It's a mentality that once you win, you feel unbeatable in a sense, and you lose that edge that you had before when you were on the hunt for that championship. And I think FaZe got humbled in this series. I mean, they're probably still walking away feeling pretty decent considering they beat the team that won it 3-0. But I mean, they were humbled by Rokkr again, and this time they couldn't rebound because they were beat in the single elimination bracket. I mean, I saw some Atlanta fans feeling a little, it seemed like they were a little salty about it or something along those lines. Like they pulled out the salt from well, we only lost once, and Rokkr lost in the they lost in the single elimination or the double elimination, and then they got knocked down. Like the final was two teams that had lost in the second round because FaZe beat Dallas 3-0, and the Rokkr lost to OpTic. And so then those two teams ended up winning the tournament, playing in the finals. So, I mean, does your opinion change on the single elimination bracket at all with this tournament, or where you at with it? I
don't think it should change. I feel like it's a thing where, you got to the bracket, right? You go 2-0. Your reward is playing a team that has lost, or team has for sure lost. The top A plays lower B. So I think like
win your match.
Yeah. Like I get it. Like where, they have lost, but you are being put in a better position when you are coming out 2-0. But then again, I think it just speaks volumes to the competition in the CDL, right? Like we're seeing all the middle teams kind of just in a big jumble right now of anyone can beat anyone. I think it just points to how much competition there is, and I love it. I'm kind of glad we have 3 separate homestand winners. Like it just makes the league more interesting. So.
Yeah. Rex, you in the same boat?
Yeah, same boat. Ditto.
Nice. I mean, it is really interesting though, because like going into the league, we thought Dallas was 1, FaZe was 2, Huntsman was 3, and then Huntsman win first, FaZe win second, and then Dallas win third. So it's like the exact opposite order of the power rankings that we saw before, which is really, really interesting going into the year. But the Rokkr. So I mean, let's look at the standings real quick, because the standings right now, I can pull it up right here for you to stream, everybody. Look at this. Look at these beautiful graphics. Oh, my word.
Yummy.
It's beautiful.
Yummy.
So nice. So right now, the standings, FaZe at 1, Huntsman 2, Dallas 3, Rokkr 4, Paris 5, Florida, London, OpTic, Seattle, Toronto, LA Guerillas, and New York Subliners. It's almost broken up in like a perfect tier system. It's like 1 through 4 are FaZe, Huntsman, Empire, Rokkr. That's tier 1. Tier 2, Legion, Mutineers, Ravens, OpTic. Tier 3, Surge, Toronto, Guerillas, Subliners. I mean, it feels almost perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we were to put them into tiers, that might be how I would probably put it.
Yeah, like we could definitely argue over OpTic
I'm still iffy about, but
yeah, and like, is London better than Florida or Paris? Maybe. Is OpTic better than Florida, Paris? Maybe. So you could argue about those teams in the tiers, but I feel like it's almost perfectly split up into the 3 tiers right now in the standings themselves, which is really interesting. I don't know. Do you disagree with that, or is there anything that stands out to you about that?
No, I like with the whole tiers, it's pretty much how people thought. Like, it's kind of funny. People with the power rankings, people were getting pooped on for the rankings of certain things, but really it's kind of turning out how people thought with the top 4, at least top 3, top 4, and then just the rest is just kind of weird. OpTic Gaming, did they get lucky this event? Did Florida get lucky with the getting the grand final? Is Prestinni coming back? Again, that's a complete separate thing,
right?
But and then one thing too, these bottom 3 teams, Ultra, Guerillas, and Subliners, they're gonna have to figure something out fast, because they're behind by quite a bit already, and you can't be starting out like that and then trying to get into champs, coming in.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, to be fair, only the bottom 4 get eliminated. So, OpTic only has 20 points right now, and they're in 8th. They're 8th. But then you get to 7th is 40, 6th is 50. So, if you're Toronto, Guerillas, or Subliners, you're already 40 points back from 6th place, which you don't love to see it. That's pretty scary. And again, top 4 is what you really want to be, because that's secures you. that automatically secures you to go to champs. And then the next 4 have a little play in.
5 through 8 or whatever. Yeah.
The next 4 have a little play in to make champs. So right now, Rokkr, Empire, Huntsman, and FaZe are sitting pretty nice. Rokkr is at 70. They're in 4th, have a 20-point lead over Paris, Florida, and a 30-point lead over London, 50-point lead over OpTic in Seattle. So, yeah, they're sitting pretty good right now. I mean, I completely agree with you. Toronto, LAG, and Subliners, they got to be sweating it out a little bit at this point, you know? So I think with that said, we can kind of transition our conversation into the roster changes because that kind of addresses those bottom teams that finished in this tournament. That was probably the most interesting aspect heading into the tournament were all the different roster changes and outcomes that could potentially happen for these teams. So Pander obviously was the new player on Seattle, replacing Enable. Happy was replacing Zero in New York. Vivid, Spart, and Pander were the new additions to LA Guerillas. And Pharaoh had to step in last second, which we didn't even know about last podcast. Last second, Prestinni basically dropped out of the tournament due to personal reasons that seemed supposedly mental health related. We don't really know the details at all. But if it is something like that, hopefully he can come back stronger than ever in the next tournament and play great. But so we saw 4 different situations in this tournament with 6 different players, which is really, really interesting. Let's just go off let's just say what player impressed you the most? What player were you most disappointed in? And which situation do you think definitely needs fixing the most? So 3 questions there. What are your thoughts, Rex?
Impressed me the most? I mean, none of them really flew at me and was like, oh wow, what an amazing switch.
Yeah.
I would maybe Pander because Seattle just seemed like they just did a little bit better.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's because of him or if it's just the team dynamic just maybe got a little bit better. I still think Pharaoh's really good. I think Pharaoh kept up, and for being last minute, he wasn't a detriment to his team by any means.
I 100% agree.
So I think Pharaoh, if he were to stay on as a starter, he would only get better. I think he would get a lot better as soon as he starts meshing with the team more, starts scrimming with the team more. So I see Pharaoh. I think he could go far. But being impressed, none of them really impressed me a lot this tournament.
Yeah, I guess we can start with there. Sam, is there one that impressed you more?
I was gonna say I do think Pharaoh impressed me. Honestly,
he started off a little slow.
He did start off slow, but I think he was the best substitute that appeared in
coming off 2 days practice.
Yes,
I agree.
So maybe not impressed, but I was happy with what how he performed. I think Florida can definitely use him. So I'm definitely of the mindset that I think he needs to stay on Florida, and maybe replace one of 2 people.
I don't think Prestinni they should replace. But
no.
Prestinni's being weird. He doesn't want to play, sort of thing. So it's
I'm thinking Havoc.
Yeah, that is the first question. I mean, who on Florida?
Yeah.
If
Havoc
the first question is will Pharaoh stay on the
be.
team?
Yeah.
The second question is if he does stay on the team, who gets the boot?
Yeah. I think you have to look at either Havoc or Frosty. But I'm saying Havoc because I think Frosty has way more upside than Havoc because Frosty is a proven console champion. I'm gonna say
you and your Halo.
It is Halo.
You are so Halo.
You can't deny that has something to do with something, right? I mean, he has won, but I do know he's performing average right now. So it could be Frosty drop too. I'm not saying it has to be Havoc, but I
don't think Frosty drop.
I don't know. I think Pharaoh has more upside again than Havoc or even Frosty. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, the only one that secured their spot on that team is Sky. Skies has been nasty,
melting people,
straight melting. He's been on fire. He had a 1.34 KD at the event, while Mox had a 0.81. Pharaoh had a 0.94. Frosty had a 0.97, and Havoc had a 0.85. So
he's been pretty much a dominant AR this year.
KDY KD wise, he's been on fire. And then if you look at other stats, he was frying during the tournament, looking really, really good. He had a 64.6% engagement success rate, which was the highest at the tournament. Wow. So really, really on fire, doing good work for the squad too. And that was with his teammates not playing very well. So that's really, really tough to do. So you love to see it if you're a Mutineers fan. Skies is looking like the real deal, which is great. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I agree it's either Havoc or Frosty. I mean, Mox didn't look good, but I feel like Mox seems like more of a team player than Frosty does. Or Havoc. Yeah. That's my opinion. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Havoc to replace. But let's be honest.
It's gotta be
Havoc. None of them have thoroughly impressed. Yeah. You know. So that's another place where I'm very interested to see what happens. That change could be coming through pretty quick here. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens in the next few days, depending on what happens with Prestinni and his situation. But I guess we can just go down the line now with the roster changes. Yeah. New York, the Subliners, Happy filled in for Zero. Obviously, Zero wasn't playing very well. Happy, he sniped well.
That's about the best.
But
we can say.
I'm not too sure New York's a better team with Happy in their lineup, to say the least. I mean, where are you guys at with that?
I think Happy was almost dealt a bad hand.
I mean,
I don't think it's just I don't think he was the problem to the Subliners, for losing the way they did. I think Happy can be good. I don't think he can be great. I don't know. I mean, maybe go back to the AM scene, prove himself a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think he was the only reason Subliners did so terrible.
Yeah.
I think they could have done just as bad if they had Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely possible.
Yeah. I think it's unfortunate that Zero was dropped. I know we talked about it, that it makes sense why Zero was dropped, just because he was kind of the odd one out, right?
It doesn't make sense.
No, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but you can see
he was the odd one out. Yeah,
why it happened.
Yeah,
sure.
What was the mindset? But I think bigger changes need to happen. You have to look at accuracy. What is he doing? He just isn't looking great.
He had a pretty good. I mean, in my opinion, accuracy looked at least solid in this event.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like they just need to build around Attach and Zuma, right?
They need a leader, man.
Yeah. I don't know what this team needs, honestly, because you look
it's
at
mental.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be mental because the individual
team has
players,
no identity at all. It doesn't feel like they have. I don't want to say a plan, but I just think identity is the best word. They don't know who they are as a team. They don't know exactly how they fit onto the map together. It feels like yet. And one thing's for sure, Happy's not the answer.
No.
So
no.
In response to that, they picked up Mac Melts, which was the news we were I should have mentioned that earlier probably, but they picked up Mac Melts. Mac, he's an up and coming pro or am. Basically, the past year and a half since World War II, he kind of found himself onto the scene. He's teamed with a lot of good players in the open brackets throughout his times and been pretty successful. He was on the Hybrid Black team at Minnesota and then now found his way on to New York Subliners. We talked about this actually in the last podcast a little bit because it was rumored going into the tournament that was the case. So realistically, we'd expect Mac to be the one that's going to be the next man up.
Do you know his personality? I feel like that's the biggest problem on that team. They don't it's. I feel like the personalities just aren't clashing to create this driven team.
I mean,
do you think he has the person? I don't know what he's like as a person.
He's a young dude. I would be surprised if he's gonna come in and be any type of. He's gonna be a follower for sure.
You think he's a follower?
Yeah.
I don't see it doing much better, to be honest. Then, unless he's just insanely good.
I mean, the problem is when you have temp and you have accuracy. Excuse me. You have accuracy. You really can't add another big personality to a team.
But they're the wrong type of big personality. Temp is just a selfish player.
Yeah.
And actually super, super stubborn. And it's almost like they don't care about their teammates, And I feel like that plays a big side in the mental game of it. And I feel like that might be New York's problem. That's the wall they're hitting. It's like they just don't bond. They don't have any chemistry. You know, they just play.
Yeah. There's definitely something going on there more than just the tactics they're playing in game. I mean, you have to assume their tactics and how they've been playing, their technical Call of Duty isn't fully there yet as a squad, but I agree with you there as well. I mean, I think there's an upside for Mac though. He looked really, really good, at least in Minnesota. I reffed them once, and Hybrid Black looked really, really good in that match. So there's upside there, but again, I can't talk too much. I don't think any of us can talk too much on Mac as a player yet. But, I mean, looking forward, the Subliners, you know, they got a trick ahead of them. They're not going to be at Dallas, so their next event is Chicago. But their group at Chicago is FaZe, Huntsman, Ravens, and Subliners. So they're in a group of FaZe, Huntsman, and Ravens. Good luck. Good luck getting out of that group. So that ain't happening. I mean, they'll be lucky to get, 1 point? Because they start off against the Huntsmen, so then they would play the loser of FaZe and Ravens. So they'd have to beat the Ravens.
Done for, dude.
They'd have to get 1 point against the Ravens, or 10 points against the Ravens.
Yeah, they're getting 0 points.
No pun intended. Yeah. But then you're in trouble. You're looking forward, and you're like, okay, that's April 4th and 5th for the Chicago tournament. Then they're in a group with the Ultra, Rokkr, and Mutineers in Florida. So that's doable. You know, they could get out of that group potentially. And by then, you know, maybe they turn the corner. But it's an uphill battle for the Subliners at this point to make the playoffs.
Do we think honestly, do you think Censor could make a difference on this team?
I want to speak about this.
Oh.
I think that there is a world where he actually makes the team better because, like we were saying before, right? We have some hot big personalities right now.
Maybe Censor. But he is kind of a peacemaker in some ways.
Censor would be the one willing to be the one to be baited. Like he would throw himself.
He'll do whatever it takes.
He'll do whatever it takes. So maybe that's what they need is someone
the ultimate sacrifice
to just be a sacrifice on the map.
And I don't think we give Censor. I don't think Censor. I don't know if you've been watching. Like, he doesn't look terrible.
I agree. He knows what he's doing. Yeah,
No, I actually agree.
He's definitely better than Happy. I mean, like, I think you.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I think if Censor played in this tournament,
Censor got robbed. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
After seeing Happy.
But here's the thing. I think him and Temp would go at it. I think him and Actually could maybe go at it.
True.
It's more of like those guys almost like despising
agree.
him in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, if it would only work if Censor was willing to not talk back to Temp and to Accuracy and just play
how they want him to play
the OBJ. But which I could see Censor doing that up until.
But I think he has to talk back. I think that's the only way they can turn around. I feel like. Maybe me's pulling at straws, but I feel like Temp and Actually, like, they're the type of people who they don't take criticisms too well.
Well, I mean, yeah,
and I feel like that hurts their team, and I think that's what's happening.
I think Censor can, if in the right situation, can build a team up like chemistry wise and as a unit. Yeah, but I don't know if.
But Temp won't play along with that.
Potentially.
I don't think Temp would play along with that.
Let's be honest. Mac's going to get the first shot.
Yes.
So it might even be just a useless conversation.
Yeah. Maybe.
But we'll see.
Maybe Mac's that good.
Yeah, you never know. So, but we're gonna have to wait, a month to see them play. So they're gonna have a long time to scrim, and maybe Mac doesn't even see the pit, the field, get a chance at the starting lineup.
Who's the Subliners coach? Do we know?
Revan.
Revan and JP just the analyst, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
we'll
Revan
see.
doesn't seem like that. Or I don't know.
Revan's really. I thought Revan was a good coach he was coaching EG last year.
EG, yeah.
The right type of team, I think he could be a good coach for, but I feel like this is the wrong team for him to coach.
He was coaching Accuracy last year on EG. Yeah. So I mean, he seemed like a good fit for them. When I had a few interactions with them, he seemed like he was doing some good stuff. But we'll see. It depends how they react.
Team dynamic and how he deal with what dynamic is formed.
Exactly. So the other team we haven't talked about yet is the LA Guerillas. Vivid, Spart, Blast. They're in, and Where are you guys' opinions on the Guerillas at this point? Obviously, they went 0-2. They were up 2-0 on OpTic.
Yeah.
They were so close. And they got absolutely just smoked by Seattle.
Seattle was it was a hot 3-0.
Holy moly. They got 100-point club, the first 100-point club of the whole year, interestingly enough. So
they replaced like more than half their team for this first event for
like
three of these guys.
A week in. A week before.
Yeah, so it's like, what could we expect? Like, seriously? It's like...
Yeah, I don't think they had any pressure on their shoulders just simply because they knew where they were. So, like, there wasn't this, like, immense amount of pressure for them. But at the same time, like, you were kind of hoping, well, I mean, like, maybe you can say their fight was against OpTic and they did put up a good fight. But
I thought so.
I mean, they showed no life, versus Surge. But again, I think when you're looking at this switch, you're obviously looking at it at the long term, right? Like we're not going to see instant results. So maybe this switch was the best thing for the team. You're not going to see the fruits of their labor until maybe a couple months on the road. But I don't know. I think obviously I've always been a big supporter of Blast. I think Blast should have been the starter on this team from the get go, and then maybe adding Vivid and Spart, will create more upside for this team, with more that young talent, which I guess I'm not sure if.
I mean, they changed the dynamic of the team. They changed more than half. That changes what that team is now, personality wise. So.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Vivid flashed at moments, but overall, like, they all really struggled. I mean, all three of them pretty much struggled. I mean, again, KD wise never tells the whole picture. But, I mean, Aqua had a 0.95, Decimate had a 0.92, and then Blast had a 0.78, Vivid 0.73, Spart 0.71.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. I mean,
that's pretty bad.
They got
it makes sense,
smoked against Seattle.
It makes sense. They didn't get a lot of time practice, maybe, but it's still pretty bad.
A week of practice.
They got just clapped by Seattle. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Decimate and Aqua could pull their numbers while their team was pulling those really low numbers. So
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I don't have high hopes for the roster. I'm not convinced that they're gonna stick together as a group of 5.
What do you do with Aches on the bench? That's a lot of money on the bench.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine there's a lot of money on the bench. I mean, you can't put him anywhere. He's gonna have to stay.
Yeah,
well, Aches was the worst on the team before.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you deal with that?
He's
your face, but he's also your worst player.
I saw him tweeting about how teams make changes way too quick, and how like people just don't understand how teams get better.
Yeah.
By like sticking it out. I mean, I'm sure he's talking from his experience of playing on EG in World War II. Like they just stuck it out, and then by the end they were good. But I mean, that's a lot of patience to have when you're trying to build a brand in the CoD League for the first year and trying to make the playoffs in the first year, which is really, really important for your brand.
And we don't know know the full story, right? Like, didn't possibly Lacefield or Saints bench themselves?
Yeah, Lacefield, yeah.
Lacefield bench themselves.
Yeah. Weird.
But
why?
Of course, we don't know.
Like, why are these guys so weird? Why are they doing that? Seriously, like, is it like
knows?
an ego thing? Like, they don't want their ego bruised going into this? They don't want to get
agent.
booed off stage or something? Like,
really?
I forgot about that. Yeah. So, yeah, Lacefield tweeted he's a free agent.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can't believe I forgot to add that into the sheet. Let me pull it up.
No, that was a possibility with the contract thing.
Yep.
You can just be a free agent.
They
just bought him out then?
Oh, wow. He just has a Twitter handle. Oh, he just has Lacefield.
Who's going to pick him up?
OpTic? I don't know.
Maybe OpTic. I don't even think OpTic would. I feel like OpTic would still pick some AM out there. Maybe Lacefield's not a good personality to have on your team. I think teams are starting to realize that. It's like the way a team is bonded can have a big effect.
Yeah. Well, I'm not seeing the tweet now, so maybe he was baiting?
Maybe.
That's possible. I'll update that if I find it. I'm not finding it right off the rip. Yeah, I saw that earlier while I was making my video, and then I just completely forgot to to throw it in the doc. But yeah, so long term, low expectations for LA Guerillas. I'd be surprised if anything crazy changes. So I think we can transition to our final topic of the day. So today I put out a video the top 10 players of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And obviously, no spoilers. If you guys haven't seen the video yet, I'd love if you guys went and go watch the video and then come back here after seeing my full-on opinion. And because obviously I can break down a little bit for some of the guys here. But basically, we wanted to discuss that a little bit, see if Sam and Rex had any differing opinions to mine on who should be in the top 10. And I haven't checked the comments on that video yet. There could be some
I bet you're
mad
getting
hate.
roasted.
I could be getting roasted right now.
roasted.
But all right, this is your last chance. No spoilers, everybody. If you guys haven't seen the video yet, I'm about to drop the bomb on the top 10 here. So my top 10 was at 10 Envoy, 9 Dashy, 8 Formal, 7 Alex, 6 Dens, 5 Wuskins, 4 God RX, 3 Cellium, 2 Octane, and 1 Simp. So, I mean, I guess the first thing is
no Formal or Arcitys.
No, Formal's at 8.
Oh,
no Arcitys,
but no Arcitys.
He just barely missed out. He was on the short list for sure.
Envoy above Arcitys, dude.
I mean, the impact.
No discredit to Envoy, but he's good, but I still feel like he's a little overhyped.
I mean, it says that is that your first? I mean, Sam, where are you on with that?
Yeah, I think Envoy is definitely that like 10 11 for sure. Definitely agree with your top 3, Simp, Octane.
Do you want to get rid of Arcitys or do you want to get Envoy? You have one choice. Which one do you get rid of?
Would you rather have do you think Envoy or Arcitys is better?
Arcitys.
Interesting.
Obviously.
Yeah.
No.
You
would
not get rid of. You would get rid of Envoy before you got rid of Arcitys easily.
I don't know if that's the case. I mean, okay, overall
You're
KD's Arcitys has a 1.09, Envoy is a 1.05. I mean, hardpoint Envoy has been slightly worse than Arcitys. I mean, KD wise, again, it doesn't show the whole picture, but in S&D and Dom, Envoy has been just nasty. A 1.21 in S&D.
When you're surrounded by good players,
1.16 in Dom, and a 110 for Arcitys and Dom, and a 1.09 in S&D for Arcitys. So, I mean, overall, Arcitys is a more balanced player, but I think Envoy brings just some massive upside that I personally love. I love how Envoy plays. He plays so fast, and in this game, like, when you have a sub that can create the pressure that Envoy creates, it's so valuable. And we see that from, like, Priesta. Like, he didn't make my top 10, but, like, he's so valuable to a team because of the pressure that he creates in a hard point. And Envoy does the same thing, especially in Dom with how he plays OBJ.
Here's the thing. Like, Envoy seems like he's replaceable. You could find somebody else in the league that could replace him. Arcitys, you're a lot more hard-pressed to find somebody to replace.
I don't think you can
brings
just
to the
replace
table.
Envoy. He was a top 5 player in Black Ops 4.
So, that's not this game.
Yeah, and they're very comparable.
You saying
in
you
this game.
can't put Abezy there? You saying you can't put Simp there? Like,
What? Of course you
in
can
place
put
of
Simp and
Envoy?
Abezy. Well, of course you could do that because they're Simp and
Who do you
Abezy.
replace with Arcitys? Maybe Octane, but I don't even know about that. What Arcitys brings is so much unique.
So much unique.
He knows he's wrong. That's why he's attacking me like that.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's his defense mechanism right there. Attack mode.
Oh no!
All
right, Sam.
Yeah,
you can be the deciding vote. You are the deciding vote. I mean, if you don't think my points are valid.
No, I think it was a great discussion. I mean, again, it's the top 10 to each of us. I honestly think Envoy's a great player. I would have Arcitys above Envoy. That's my personal opinion.
I mean, you definitely you'd have in a top 20 list, you'd have Envoy way higher than Rex.
Well,
Then who?
No, than
Did you say than me?
No, not as a player. Like, I'm saying that you
I would have Envoy way higher than Rex in a top
I don't know,
20.
man.
Okay.
Dude,
Rex is pretty good, dude. I don't know.
ShadyNero, man. It's pretty
ShadyNero.
good, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
You would rank Envoy higher than Rex would rank Envoy.
Yes, probably, yes. I think I
top like 13 or 14.
Yes.
But okay, I mean, again, I was so torn with like 6 or 7 guys at 10. I decided to put Envoy there. I'd have no problem with somebody putting Arcitys there.
Also,
or
Dashy, I think, is overhyped. But all right.
I also would replace Dens with Skies. I think Skies has proven himself to be a
Dens.
top 10.
Nah, damn, dude, nah. Dens.
I don't know if Dens has proven himself to be a top. I don't know. Dens is looking pretty good, but
Dens has looked great.
top 10
okay.
it seems like a really like.
I would put Skies between Dens and Westkin. So how about that? Dens is still a top 10, but I think Skies is higher. Skies is, you can't deny Skies has proven himself.
Skies is on my short list
Yeah,
for the
I don't know
10th.
if Dens has proven himself like that. Yeah, you're right.
Like Skies is shining with an average team. Like,
I think we forgot how good Dens was early. Like
I'm not saying he's bad, but like Skies has shocked me and like how good he was. Like Black Ops 4, he was good, right? He was good on LG.
no, man, I agree. Skies has been great.
But yeah, he's been phenomenal. Otherwise, I don't know if I would change anything to your list besides those two things. Because like I don't know how you could argue the top 4.
I mean, I literally hated not having like Priesta,
Yeah, Priesta's like
Scump. I mean, Scump has been one of the he's probably a top 5 S&D player this year so far. I mean, Scump has been incredible in S&D. So it's like,
Scott's been looking better.
Like, is that enough value for Scump to get put in the top 10? I mean, I know some people would argue that. Slasher, after this last event, Slasher looked incredible at this event. So,
But they're just not proven yet.
Yeah,
You know?
right,
They gotta
yeah,
play a
you
little
could
more.
argue. Someone could argue it.
you gotta take the. I feel like you gotta take the whole season so far.
But I
right?
mean, they did make big changes that you could project forward.
true.
But I agree. I mean, Abezy, not having Abezy in the top 10, where last year he was an undisputed top 3 player.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not totally against Abezy not being in the top 10, but he's close.
yeah. Like, I mean, you could easily have Abezy in the top 10, and I wouldn't blink an eye probably.
Yeah.
He plays a role that's really tough to replicate for FaZe.
Yeah.
And like that's why FaZe has been so good, is that they're not playing selfishly. They're not playing for the stats. Like, you need someone to play these roles, and Abezy is probably the best you could ever have do it, and that's why they've been successful. But he did actually have a pretty rough event here at LA, which was a reason why he really struggled against the Rokkr.
It's kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. It's like I feel like it's almost impossible to tell where Major Maniac is. Like he said, like
He just does.
He just like his role is to sit there and like just shoot people from like way back, like
And just hold spawns and
like
control them.
how do you tell like how good he is? Because simply because everyone on his team are
It
just
is really good.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
But like he plays the role. He doesn't die.
He plays the role well.
He doesn't give up kills. Insertion Destroy, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And so it's like you don't need another
Yeah.
Slayer on the team. You just need a guy to make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah. I would love to see him replace him with Skies on Florida and see
Skies and Major Maniac flip and see who's better.
and see if
That'd be interesting.
and see if Major Maniac can put up the same numbers
That'd be
as Skies.
so interesting.
Because like I don't know how good Major Maniac really is.
Yeah.
I mean
That's a good.
he's a
That's
great
a
player,
good point.
but
I mean, yeah. I mean, another quote is like, how high up the list would like one of the Empire players get after this event? Like, is Clay the best player on their team?
I think Clay's the best player on the team.
He might be the best player on that team.
Like it was shocking how good he was playing. Like and like not just the event, but like just really how consistent he's been. You like I know he got the rep on Black Ops 4. He definitely
Got carried.
got carried, right? Yeah, I don't want to come out and just say it, but yeah, he definitely got carried to.
Like he got carried in a good way. It's like
yeah.
usually
I think
carried
he
is like,
still
I dropped a
provided
point.
for the team in other ways.
Yeah.
I think like the emotional bonding, chemistry sort of way, I think he's
That's like
really
saying-
good at providing that.
It's like saying Major Maniac's getting carried.
Yes.
Like, is he getting carried? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know?
He's doing his part, but really he's showing himself to be a great AR in this game. Like really just solid. Maybe not top 10, obviously, but like really just for where he's been, he's the oldest player in the league.
Yeah, the oldest.
No,
Yeah.
he's not. He's not the oldest.
He is the oldest.
Maniac is not the oldest.
No, Clay.
Oh yeah,
Clay.
Clay's the oldest.
Maniac's 46, dude.
That was Puckett. That was all Puckett. That was he screwed up badly there. Yeah, no, just with the Clayster thing, I think he's kind of shown a lot of people that he's not just there to get carried. I think he's an integral part to every team he's been on. So that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Side note, I wanted to talk about Wuskins because, I mean, he's had I'm sorry. Well, Wuskins first. I meant to say Skrapz, but we do need to talk about Wuskins as well.
Wuskins phenomenal.
What's crazy about Skrapz is like his whole career, he's had the rep that he's been a bad search player. But like since he started sniping in this game, he has been on fire in search. He has a 1.48 KD in search right now.
Insane.
That is nuts. That is the second highest in the CDL behind Simp.
Like his groove.
That's crazy. I mean, the rest of his team,
yeah,
Good specifically rated and Jurd they're 0.7 and 0.87 in search. But shout out to Skrapz for finding his groove in hardpoint, in search and destroy, because before he was really struggling in search. He's passed like 2 years and he's been on fire. So you love to see it. I wanted to give a little shout out to Skrapz. But how good is Wuskins? So I have him at 5. I mean, GodRx, Cellium, Octane. Is Wuskins at 5 for you, or where would you slot Wuskins in that conversation right now? Because, I mean, London's struggling, but Wuskins has been putting up mad numbers.
Absolutely. I guess, do you question the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, are his kills meaningful if they're not performing the way they should be with those numbers?
Right. But then the argument is Octane's.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So that is the counter for those.
That is the counter. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can't deny he's been putting up incredible numbers. He's phenomenal. I think 5 through 8, one of those places is probably the best spot for him, honestly. Yeah. I mean, he's shown up in this game. He's phenomenal. And it's just a matter of the team kind of coming around him.
Yeah.
To produce actual numbers.
Yeah, so. Rex, I mean, are you in the same boat? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties.
What's up?
Hello.
But yeah, Wuskins I think looks pretty good. I could definitely see him being in the top 10. I don't know if it's like if he's only shining because his team is kind of lacking, so it gives him the opportunity where he has to pick up those kills to almost in a way carry his team.
I mean,
if his team was performing better, would he be getting the less kills?
Yeah.
If he had other stronger players on his team, would he kind of go back down to more averaging out?
I think there's a big comparison to like basketball. It's like, okay, well, if one guy's dropping like 40 points a game in the NBA on a bad team, like, is he good, or is he just the only decent player on that team?
Right.
And it's the same argument. And I think there's definitely a balance of both, where like there's just so many kills to get picked up that like if you're a good player, you're going to find a lot of kills. So maybe his stats are somewhat inflated. But at the same time, that means he's getting the kills, and he's looked he's looked
and
amazing.
Also, Ravens aren't that bad. So they're definitely they're like
they're
in
no
that tier
Guerillas.
2 section. So.
True. Very true. Yeah. He's not doing this on Guerillas. He's doing this on a middle of the pack team, which is still good.
For sure. So I think that's about right. I mean, which player this year, in your opinion, has surprised you the most? Is there one guy that comes to mind off the rip?
I can't say it surprised me because I've said from the beginning that GodRx.
You got RX?
I've said before the league even started, I was like, watch GodRx. I've been calling. I want that clipped somewhere. I want someone to send it to me. Me saying it before the league even started that GodRx was going to be good. And look at him now. He's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
And so, I guess you could say that is surprising, but not to me. I knew it. I knew it.
Oh man. For me, probably Wuskins.
Yeah.
Just like he's been a good player, but like just how good he's been. I did not expect that from him. Truthfully. But yeah, that's probably like the most surprising to me. But also along the same lines like GodRx, Rex, I know you were saying about my okay, sure, God Rex is good.
I mean,
he's
after champs last year, though, we saw the upside that he had. And
God Rex is really
feeling it.
He is, which
he
is
was
good.
on fire this whole tournament.
Yeah,
like I mean, I'd have to pull up the KDs from this tournament, but like absolutely bonkers. Like what he was dropping throughout the tournament. I mean, like that FaZe series. I mean, he was going off. He had a 1 point
severely underrated.
Yeah, he had a 1.33 KD on the event. He had a 1.37 in hardpoint, a 1.62 in search, and 1. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh no, where's the Dom KDs? Oh man, this is the. Oh, here it is. And a 1.15 in Dom. So definitely really solid. So he was all over the place. Absolutely disgusting. But to answer my own question, I mean, Wuskin's definitely surprising. Den's very surprising. And I would say even Alex. Like, I mean, I have him in my top 10. I would have never thought that I would have Wuskins, Dens, or Alex in my top 10 players after this many events. And they've been awesome. I can't deny their greatness so far this year. Mm-hmm. And
Alex,
I hope it continues.
Alex is surprising. Sure.
Yeah, he's been slaying as an elite SMG throughout the year so far. And like he's the reason for why the Rokkr are beating FaZe and be able to keep up with them in hard points. I mean, of course, GodRx. But I mean, they're making up for a Sim and Silly's lack of slaying. And like, it's been pretty apparent that both those guys are struggling so far this year. So like, I mean, there's no way if you're the Rokkr, you can make a roster change with how well you've been playing. But like on the season, Alex has a 1.13, Assault has a 1.12, and GodRx has a 1.29, while a Sim have a 0.87 and Silly has a 0.91. Again, KDs don't say everything. They don't mean everything. But like it is somewhat telling.
GodRx is the God prescription for the Minnesota Rokkr.
Exactly what they needed to.
That's got to be the reason his name is that, right?
He was talking about that. He
the
actually
medicine
said
they need
it had nothing to do with
it.
It had nothing to do with it, actually.
Really?
He just thought it sounded cool, and then like people started associating with it, so he just kind of embraced it. But like he never meant for it to be that originally. I heard him talk about that once.
That's funny.
But yeah, so well, I mean that basically wraps up this podcast. So first of all, also one thing we wanted to mention was Draft Buffs. The Fantasy League started a new pick'em style event where we can make big groups, and so down the road for Dallas, we want to be able to make like a best of 3 listeners league or event for the Dallas event. So keep an eye out for that. We'll announce that in a future podcast so we guys can play and compete against you guys in a match. The pressure's on, I know. And we do appreciate your guys' support, of course. Apple Podcasts, drop a review if you haven't already. And on YouTube, drop a comment. We're still dealing with all the production things and the sound and everything else. I mean, look at all of our pretty new gadgets we have.
Look at that.
Look at these.
Look at that slide.
Oh,
look at that
my
slide.
word. The slide, the animations.
Man.
Yeah, Rex, look at that. Isn't that crazy, dude? This is insane. So we can have a lot of fun around here.
Love it.
We got the new camera set up. We got the new layout, the microphones. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my God.
But we really do appreciate you guys listening. And we're going to get back to our roots. And what we really want to excel in is some fun, interesting, random gaming topics once in a while. So next week, since we got like there's nothing to react to tournament-wise and there's nothing to predict, we might have some fun next week. So that, we might be going crazy. So anyway, we appreciate you guys. As always, I'm Josh, SalvationsElite. To my right is Bash BO3. And to my farthest right is Rex, ShadyNero. And guys, we will see you next time. Goodbye.